36th consecutive week right here from the Frat House with Frat House Mike and Sidekick. And listen, we're going to jump right into it this evening, Sidekick, because for weeks now, everybody's been hearing us talk, and promote fanjunkies.net. And earlier this evening, we had the opportunity to talk to the gentleman that actually started fanjunkies.net. And so what I want to do is I want to get right into that interview. And so what I'm going to ask is, hey, let's get that going right now. Hey, we're very excited here because we're introducing some brand new technology here at the Frat House. And to do that, to introduce it for us, we've got the 29-year-old creator and owner of fanjunkies.net. Jonathan Ragus is coming to us live via Skype. Jonathan, we really appreciate having you with us, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Jonathan, we've been talking the site up here. As you can see, we're all wearing the shirts, and we love the site because it's a Facebook-type social network exclusively for sports nuts like us. We don't have the dramas, we don't have stupid games. It's just sports. Tell us what was your motivation in starting this site?
My motivation is real simple. It was being on Facebook. I'm a sports junkie, which is why I made Fan Junkies. It was the perfect name for it. Just writing about sports all day long, whether it was a trade, some kind of a waiving, anything sports related, I would post up as a status on Facebook, and of course I would basically annoy the people that weren't sports fans. And unfortunately, about probably 75% of my friends list was not sports fans. So it was simple. I needed to make a portal. I needed to make an outlet for sports fans like me where, they didn't have to annoy family members and friends that weren't sports fans.
You had
Yes, I've got a question too. You have some other sports-related websites that you've been running and designed for a few years.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I've been around since about 1999 doing sports media. Ranger Nation, NYRNation.net is one of those big popular websites. It's for New York Rangers. NYR fans love it. They just basically boosted it to be one of the most popular Rangers blogs on the internet today. Besides that, we also have WrestleChat, which is WrestleChat.net. It's one of the most popular wrestling news source sites out there today. It's just something that I've always loved to do, and we just keep building more.
You're going back to 1999, and one of the things that I pointed out here on numerous occasions, it's been around for 13 years.
Yeah.
Jonathan, that takes you back to when you were 16.
Yeah.
I mean, you started that website when you were 16. That was really when the internet was just starting to get going.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have been writing this, I said here, you must have been writing this in what, HTML code and Notepad?
Basically, yeah.
Holy smokes.
Mostly forums, still using news groups around that time. That's when news groups were just about to end, and that's where we're getting a lot of our fans from. So, I was young, and that's when I started it. It was just a passion of mine. Now,
the Rangers Nation one, and, obviously it's specifically geared toward New York fans, and New York fans who are NHL Ranger fans.
Correct.
But with Fan Junkies, I mean, we're looking for something completely different. You're looking for a more rounded, a more broader-based audience.
Yeah, we're just looking for everybody.
Right.
Everybody that's a sports fan, no matter what sport it is, a little bit for everybody.
I mean, you're looking for this to go across the nation.
I'm looking for this to go across the globe.
There you go.
There's basketball fans all over the world. There's hockey fans all over the world. Wrestling fans, baseball, football, soccer, Olympics, you name it. We want to get into it.
Cool. And then one final question I had was, obviously to have all these different websites, you've got a passion for sports. Where did this passion come from?
I was a player all my life. I just always had to be around it. Unfortunately, a bunch of knee injuries wouldn't let me go after my dream of being a basketball player, and I was a pretty good one. I was a great one. I just had to be around it, and writing just came to me naturally all my life. So I just put two and two together and met some people in the field, and they really just pushed it on me, and I fell in love with it, and here we go. It just blossomed. And here I am 13, 14 years later, still going.
Now, you played basketball for high school? Is that what it was?
I played basketball for CYO, many different leagues for school. I tried it with the Westchester Wildfire with ex-New York Knicks guard John Starks was the coach.
Wow.
And that was basically toward the end there where I wasn't supposed to play, but I still went for the tryout. And, you know, I had some good comments from my idol, which was John Starks, which, you know, it hurt a little bit, but, you know, pushed me towards my new occupation here, which is just sports media and all.
Can I ask what the career-ending injury was?
Yeah, a lot of meniscus tears. I blew out both my knees about 2 times each, a couple of concussions. So I played everything. I was a basketball player, but I also played hockey. I played football. I played baseball, soccer. I played everything, and unfortunately, my body just couldn't keep up with it.
Wow, that's unfortunate. But, you know, it's tremendous you've kept the passion going.
Yes.
And listen, we're going to try to keep the passion going here as well. All right? We want everybody to go out. We want them to check out Fan Junkies. We want them to sign up, and that's what we're encouraging everybody to do. And we love the fact that you were here and were able to spend a couple of minutes with us. Anything you want to tell our group out here before we let you go?
Yeah, just come on over. It's a great site, fanjunkies.net. Come on, be friends with everybody. You know, the guys at the Frat House, they're all on it.
Yep.
Huge help to the site. Just coming over. It's 100% free. You don't have to pay a dime.
All right, John, listen. We've already talked about it. We're going to be bringing you in as a Rangers consultant. We're going to be bringing you in as a Jets consultant at different times during the course of the year. And our people are going to get used to seeing you. So now that we've got this worked out, we can't wait to have you on board with us.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for having us being here with us, John.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it.
All right. You know, Jonathan's a great guy, huh?
He's awesome, dude. He's great.
And as I pointed out in the interview, I want everybody to know you're going to be seeing more of Jonathan over the course of the year because he's going to be coming in. He's going to be commentating for us on things like the New York Jets and on the New York Rangers and some other New York types of things. That's his wheelhouse. So we're going to be bringing him in, and we're going to have him back there talking to us about some of those things as they come up. But let's go over and take a look at what happened this past week in NASCAR. And we've got ourselves a pretty quick update, really, when it comes right down to it in NASCAR, because we had a race at New Hampshire, but we don't have a race this week.
Nope.
In fact, this is what? Is this the only week? Is it the only week? I think it might be the only week out of the entire season that we're actually going to get a break. And it won't be until 2 weeks from now, on the 29th of July, I believe, when we will be at the Brickhouse 400 in Indianapolis.
This is our fantasy football prep week.
Oh, there you go. All right, and that's what I got
that for you.
I got to be working on that one. I got to be getting that up and running. But what happened over in New Hampshire? And it was another one of those weeks where it appeared to me that, in fact, Kyle Busch may, in fact, come out on top. I mean, in fact, he led 66 of those laps up until a really bad pit.
Yep.
That's what really hurt the whole situation.
That's what got both, actually, the Gibbs guys. Because Hamlin had a bad hit too.
But Hamlin was able to come back.
Well, yes, he was.
Okay, and in fact, it was after Kyle had that bad hit that Hamlin ultimately came in there, and he led it, controlled it for it seemed like about 150 plus laps.
Yep.
But in the end, Kaey Kahne worked his way to the front, and with about 60 laps left in that race, he pulled off his second win of the season. Others who came in the top 5, there was Denny Hamlin. All right, he had a terrific race. You can't take anything away from that. He came in second, and that helped him get back into the top 5, as you'll see in a moment. Clint Bowyer came in third. Dale Jr. got himself another top 5.
Yep.
Came in fourth, and Brad Keselowski came in fifth. And so what does our Sprint Cup leaderboard look like right now? Well, there's Matt Kenseth. He's still holding on to number 1 with 707 points. Dale Jr. still there at number 2 with 691. The Biff's there still at number 3 with 667. Johnson's holding on to number 4 at 656. But Denny Hamlin now sneaks up and takes over Tony Stewart.
Yep.
And with 628.
And then Kahne.
Yeah, we got the wild card.
And Kyle are your wild cards.
Right.
Edwards is still,
well, we talked about it a little bit last week. And
he needs to win. If he gets the win, he'll win it in.
Yep.
Well,
we'll get back to fantasy next week.
Yep.
And we'll also be talking and doing a little prep there in advance for the Brickyard 400. Hey, Major League Baseball, that's the only other thing on the docket, and I guess until we get the NFL training camps kicking up when? This week, I think.
Yes.
I think they start kicking up this week. But following that short MLB week that we had last week because of the All-Star break, well, we got back into the full swing of things this week.
Yep.
And we're going to see in a moment, it did have some impact on the standings. Before we get to that, though, we had a couple of improbables that we just wanted to go over. And let me start it off with that legendary Angels pitcher, Ernesto Frieri.
Who?
Yeah, you know who he is. Come on. Yeah, right.
I know Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
The foot guy. The food guy.
Yeah, well, they're not the same guy.
Is that Ernesto's brother?
Yeah, who is right? Well, are you ready for this one? Prior to this past Saturday, short reliever and closer on occasion, Ernesto Frieri had appeared in 26 games for the Angels. And are you ready? He had an ERA of 0.00. All right? Well, fortunately, that kind of ended on Sunday when the Yankees scored 3 runs against him in the 9th inning, taking his current ERA to 1.03. Now, prior to Sunday, he hadn't allowed a single home run. Now, there was a home run hit off of him on Sunday. He had only allowed 8 hits and 105 plate appearances. That's pretty impressive. And along the way, he struck out 45 of the 105 hitters that he faced at the plate. For nobody that nobody knew, that's pretty darn good. From almost the beginning of the season, the Washington Nationals management have stood firm that at some point, and it perhaps might be coming rather shortly, their pitcher, Steven Strasburg, well, he's on a season inning count, and they're going to shut him down. I mean, they're going to shut him down for the rest of the season until they get to like maybe late September and into the playoffs. And I'm suspecting that it has a lot to do with the fact he's coming off of that Tommy Johnson injury from last season. Now, while many might think that sounds a bit unorthodox, and I'm frankly one of those in the camp that thinks that, I think what's even a little more unorthodox is what former Atlanta pitcher John Smoltz suggested this past week. He suggested that perhaps maybe Smoltz or that Strasburg should fake an injury.
That's right, I took the wrong week, quick drink.
Well, in a recent interview, Smoltz recited what he used to do to save himself for a longer season that he anticipated. He was quoted as saying, "I'd create my own little gap. I'd have a blister one day, maybe a hangnail the next. You know, I think that's there's ways you can do that." And I get it. Their statement is every game counts. Well, it does, but it doesn't count as much as in September. I don't know. What do you think? Is that legit? Is that legit or what? Huh?
Come on.
Paying these guys millions of dollars and they're going to fake it. Listen, we know that you don't have to be a politician to know that the current situation going on over at Penn State and the revelations from last week's Free Report regarding the implications of head coach, their former head coach, Joe Paterno, that's a real hot button topic. In fact, we saw just a little bit of that this week on our own Facebook page.
Yep.
So some folks in the Boston Red Sox upper management, they were probably cringing when their senior advisor for baseball operations, Bill James, appeared on a local radio station the other day. He was quoted as saying, "It's very hard. In fact, it's impossible to explain why Paterno should have been the person to go to the police. Paterno didn't see anything. Paterno was not the reporting authority. Sandusky did not work for Paterno. Paterno had no supervisory authority over Sandusky. It's extremely difficult to explain why it was Paterno's responsibility at all. He knew less about it than anyone else. Paterno had very few allies. He was isolated, and he wasn't nearly as powerful as people imagine him to have been." All right, now, Mr. James had his own opinion, and I respect his opinion. The Red Sox management, however, didn't, and basically told James to shut up. And personally, I kind of might agree with him. I think James should just stick to speaking about baseball. We've got Washington Nationals' Bryce Harper back in the mix again this week. But now we're going to mix in, how about vitriolic Miami Marlins manager Ozzie Guillen. Now that's a good recipe.
Wow.
That's a good recipe if you ask me.
That's a nice time.
Yeah. Listen, it all started last Sunday when Guillen challenged Harper's bat, claiming there was way too much pine tar on it. So Harper gave in, and he went and he got himself a new bat. And so in his next plate appearance, Harper made a point of pointing the bat in Guillen's direction down in the dugout and was laughing at him. I think we know where this is going, huh? That led to the usual post-game tirade by Guillen, where he referred to Harper as unprofessional and later predicted he wouldn't make it as a major leaguer. All right, well, that's
upon in this establishment.
Listen, the story's good enough if it were left right there, but it gets even better. The Nats wanted the last word, so teammate Adam LaRouche got Harper to sign it back, which Harper did. But then, unbeknownst to Harper, LaRouche wrote above the bat, "To my hero, Ozzie, love you," and sent the bat to Guillen.
Oh,
no! Guillen had a rather non-Ozzie reaction, in my opinion, saying it was funny. All those guys were just making fun of me. You know, it's Harper. It's got to be a bitch to be a rookie, seriously. Alrighty, our final story comes from, hey, how about the minor leagues? Let's take a look at the minor leagues, actually, and it comes from the Double-A Reading Phillies, who are just up the road from where we are right here, and center fielder Jiwan James. And we've got video. Now, some are saying that this may be the sweetest outfield catch ever. And as you can see from the video, you see James, he climbs way up the wall to get what appears to be an obvious home run. I mean, it looks like the ball is going way over. And he goes up, and he loses his glove, and the glove actually goes over the wall. And I'm going to tell you, when I first saw it, you're sure it's a home run at that point. However, the ball must have slid down his arm or something into his open hand as he was laying prone on the ground. It truly is absolutely an incredible catch. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it.
Well, actually, I've got some breaking news on this story.
All right.
Being the
breaking news
watchdog being the watchdog that I am and the analyst, I've reviewed this video over and over again, and I've come to the conclusion it's Disney's Angels in the Outfield.
Oh,
it's Angels.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
That's how he comes down with this ball. It's Angels in the outfield.
I'd have to check to see who the Reading Phils were played against. I don't know if it was the Angels affiliate or not. All right, let's go over and take a look at the league standings. And we had already made some reference to the fact that there were a few changes.
Yep.
However, the Yankees are not one of them. In fact, the Yankees are starting to pull away. Is everybody listening to me in Major League Baseball? Somebody's got to catch these guys, all right? It is. They are now 10 games in front of, not the Baltimore Orioles. How about the Tampa Bay Rays? The Orioles are now in third. And they have the best record in baseball. I'm telling you, somebody please, come on. Let's keep this competitive for a little while. The Chicago White Sox are 2.5 games ahead of the Detroit Tigers. And the Texas Rangers continue to be 5.5 games in front of the Angels. Over in the National League, that's where we're going to see our changes. The Washington Nationals are not one of them. They are 4.5 games ahead of the Atlanta Braves in the East. The Cincinnati Reds, however, here we go, Central, going back and forth. They take over the #1 spot in the Central. They're only a half game in front of the Pirates. But we've been saying for the past couple of weeks that the Dodgers have been cooling off. And now they have. The San Francisco Giants are now ahead of the Dodgers by 2.5 games. Have we seen a change in the West? That's our wrap for this week for Major League Baseball. You got us a quick update on MLS for this?
Yes. Go. Next Wednesday, July 25th, 8:30, I believe, down at PPL Park in beautiful downtown Chester, Pennsylvania, is the MLS All-Star Game between the MLS All-Stars and Chelsea FC.
From
England.
There you go. Right. This is an international, national matchup.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. This is their All-Star
interesting
game.
All-Star format. Yeah.
And then also just another quick update. UFC 149 is Saturday night. So we'll have, they'll have some middleweights and stuff in there. So
there you go. We can't forget our Frat House Facebook post of the week, which, as I alluded to earlier, revolved this week around a post that Brandon put up about the fact that the NCAA has not yet ruled out the death penalty for the Penn State football program.
Yep.
And I got to be perfectly honest, I can't even begin to go through all the posts that were submitted because it just went on and on and on.
Yes, it was.
And I will say it got a little bit heated. But nicely enough, it really never got nasty on anybody's side or the other.
It was a lively conversation.
Yeah. It was great stuff, and that's the kind of sportsmanship we like to see on the Frat House page and the kind of participation. So keep that going. It was outstanding. That one post alone got over 300 views. Just that post. So keep that kind of stuff up. That's what we want to see. And finally, Brandon's post was prompted by the article that I wrote this past week for Philly Sports Live, which I've been asking everybody to continue following. I've been writing for him now for a couple of weeks, and I
Let it be written.
Yes, it is.
Let it be done.
Yeah. I have been writing for him, and I had a couple of stories up there this week, including the one that Brandon cited, where I talked about whether, in fact, the football program should, in fact, be the one to take the hit on everything that came down. So keep following that. Make your comments, send me a note, all right? And I appreciate you following it. And while I'm asking you to follow things, there's one more thing I need you to follow. And I'm reminding you, and you know it. You already know this one. Hey, you got to keep us real, you got to keep us live, you got to keep us going. We'll see you next week. See you there.
Guys. All right, Rob, thank you very much. Bauer, just 21 years. Number 3 prospect in the system, and it's Jiwan James climbing the wall. All right, Rob, thank you very much. Bauer, just 21 years of age. Number 3 prospect in the system, and it's Jiwan James climbing the wall in center field and making an unbelievable catch.
Big league catch in center field. The fans at First Energy Stadium all on their feet.